Hey everybody, it's Mike, the Erudite DM, and I have some special guests with me here on this video. I want to introduce part of my real life family 5e group. I say 5e, the reason we're making this video is because they tried Shadowdark for the first time, and I wanted to get their impressions and observations, their insights about the system and how it was different, what they liked, what they didn't like. So I thought this would be a fun video to make, but with me here is Tristan and Amy and Elliott, which is exactly half of our players. We have 6 altogether. And how long did we play 5e? About a year, I guess, huh?
Year, yeah. We got, what, 8 or 9 sessions in?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, and we enjoyed it. It was fun. Elliott joined in kind of later as we were already up and running. Elliott, you'd played Dungeons and Dragons before, hadn't you? I think a little.
Yeah, I have some experience. I don't remember specifically which system we used. I know we had a Pathfinder book at one point, but I think we may have switched over to just normal D&D, whatever version it was. I don't remember. But yeah, I have some experience a little bit before.
Yeah, because I remember at first you were like, hey, I'll just come watch. I'll just come hang out. And then you got in there and you turned on like your best murder hobo right away. It was hilarious. So you got into the spirit of the thing. That was great. But
he's the best role player of all of us.
Yeah, it was really good.
Hey, that's what was written on the character sheet. It said he was racist and evil.
On the character sheet?
And I didn't make that character.
Yeah, I have a feeling maybe Amy wrote that on there.
I did not. That was Tristan's character.
Oh, Tristan. Okay. All right. So, and just, well, let's flip over to Shadowdark. So basically we started here and we did this for a year and we did have a lot of fun. And then we've gone here and we've only done one session, but I don't want to speak for you guys. What was just your top line impression of things? Tristan, why don't you lead off?
It was a lot of fun. It was much simpler. Like when you're creating a character in 5e, there are so many rules and different aspects you have to think of. You have to flip back and forth through the rule book. When I was making a character in Shadowdark, there was 4 choices. I picked, I'm a fighter, I'm a half-orc, and then I roll to see what I got. And that was basically it.
Right, yeah. Or you can even go to shadowdarklings.net, that website, and just crank one out in minutes, whether it's the 4 core classes from the core rule book or from one of the cursed scrolls, which have the additional classes.
That's what Becca did. She ended up doing just a pre-roll.
Yeah, she did a warlock, actually, which comes in the first cursed scroll with, I think, witches and warlocks and knights of St. Idris or something. There's a couple of things in that one. And I love those cursed scrolls too, because they kind of give you also little mini campaigns, but they also give you some different classes and flavors and some additional rules that aren't in the core rule book. So if you haven't played Shadowdark, I'd encourage you to get the core rule book, but also take a good look at the cursed scrolls. Even if you just get the PDFs off a drive-through RPG or something like that, they add a lot to your game possibilities. Amy, what did you think? And Tristan, you said you were the fighter. You were the big frontline guy for the party. But I remember now. I'll let you tell them who you were.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I was Wimble, and then Elliott was Bimble. We were a little twin goblin. Claire, or is it priest? It's priest, not
priest. Yeah, same thing.
We both served conflicting gods. Mine was the chaotic one. His was the really just one. Which that was really fun. I think what I liked about it though, it felt really accessible, and yeah, like rolling up the character, it was still fun, and you're still reading the things, but it's like, instead of spending like hours and hours building your character, you're spending like 30 minutes to an hour maybe. And I feel like you could get more detailed with, like, if you want, but it feels really accessible. And like for our group, we're not able to meet like once a week. So I feel like since we're not able to meet quite as often, it's really nice to have kind of like D&D light, where we're still getting all of the fun D&D aspects, and we're still doing the dungeon crawls, and I don't feel like there was anything that I was missing from when we were doing 5e. It wasn't like, oh, I missed when we were doing that. Like, it was still the same feel. It was still really fun. But I also think it's a really great introduction. Like, if you've never played D&D or 5e, because I think when we played, that was one of my first like full D&D like campaigns also, and so I also think it's a really good introduction.
Well, you guys were all responsible for me really getting back in the hobby. I don't remember when it was. It was like 2 years ago. We were all together for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something, and y'all were talking about, well, you know, I played Baldur's Gate or
Yeah,
I
like we
this
were talking
video
about-
game, but
It was after our
I said it.
Zachariah
Oh
and Rachel.
yeah, we did have I forgot about that. We were doing a campaign with some other friends, and then that one just kind of fell apart. Just like scheduling and people not being able to come, and so then like you were like, oh, well, I've been wanting to do it. I'll DM for you guys, and we did, and it was great. I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, and it is a family group, just so people watching know that. So it is very much beer and pretzel style. This is not the immersive 4D where we're all concentrating and talking as our character. We're catching up, and we haven't seen each other in a month, and the kids are playing in the den, and there's a baby or two that, you know, it's a family game, but it's that kind of game, but it's a lot of fun. And I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. It's very different than like our Monday night live stream where we're horsing around with those guys too and having fun because we haven't talked all week. But I really enjoy it because I really think the at the table experience is the superior experience.
And you mentioned beer and pretzels. Shadowdark is very much more of a beer and pretzels game where 5e is very structured and you got to flip back and forth and know all these interactions. And
yeah, combat didn't take 30 minutes, so there was actually time, you know, for beer and eating pretzels. Or whatever. We always have good food. We usually have good food. I didn't cook this time. My apologies, but that was for other reasons. But we'll take care of that when we get together next time. And Elliott, are you a video gamer too? Do you play Baldur's Gate or some of these other video adjacent?
Yeah, I do. I historically have mostly played more like competitive multiplayer type games. So, but lately I've kind of gotten away from those and been playing more single player type games like Baldur's Gate and Mass Effect and stuff like that. So yeah, and playing Baldur's Gate again also made me want to play more D&D because it is definitely, I think both experiences really allow you to flex your creative muscles and kind of just play with a sort of storytelling sandbox type environment in a really fun way. Yeah.
Sure. And we talked about character gen. I think everybody felt like, okay, that's easier, that's faster, it's undeniable, I can roll something up. And in Shadowdark, right, hit points are lower, not just for you, but for the monsters also. Damage is lower, and death sometimes is just unavoidable. You know, even with the death timer, you roll a d4 to see how many turns until you're dead, and they can try to resuscitate you. There's workarounds, but it's not uncommon that you lose a character or, you know, a total party kill, a TPK, and everybody goes down, and that's the end of that one. Let's start a new campaign. But what were your impressions of the combat? I was interested in that because you guys did kind of stumble in. I was telling some friends about that on YouTube. I said my real life family group like killed my big bad witch in the first 10 minutes. Because she rolled a mishap and had a stupid flapping around on her head from the mishap table.
I liked the mishap aspect.
That
was because
fun.
it's funny. Like, yeah, it just makes it kind of silly.
Yeah, and I told y'all before, critiquing myself getting back into the hobby too. I know with D&D, I never felt like I was trying to railroad you guys. I did give you lots of choices. You could do this, or at least I thought I did.
Oh yeah, you did.
This way, or you can go that way, or you can, you know, I wanted to give you guys agency to decide. What's that?
We just wanted to, what was it called? What was the word?
Carouse.
We just wanted to carouse.
Yeah. So, but I try to give you guys choices and not pigeonhole you into one thing. But I'm always trying to work on it. And I love those random tables that sometimes you roll a crit one, and it's like, oh crap, I got to roll on this table. But yeah, so just so everyone listening knows, we were still playing 5e. And I grabbed Shadowdark one night at the table, and I pulled out the carousing rules after a session and said, okay, you guys are back in town. You're back at the tavern where you started. Now we're going to do this. And like, what? We get to roll, and you have to spend some money. And there's all kinds of carousing that you guys haven't even encountered yet. There's like devotional. You can go the religious route. In our Monday night game 2 weeks ago, I wound up with like 6 peasants, you know, that were religious devotees who started following me around. I had to buy them spears and shields and take them down in the dungeon with us. But there's different kinds of carousing that can lead to lots of other stuff. But everybody seems to love that dynamic, which I'm cool with it too, as long as it doesn't totally replace. If that's, and I guess some groups, that's all they do. They go back to town, they carouse, and they go back into the next dungeon. I actually like the city games. I like the city, digging around. You guys never finished the last one in Roncesvalles, but we may use that setting at some point in the future because I like the homebrew. But at this point, I can't show you my library, but in the past 2 years, I've bought so many dadgum games and books and adventures that we're never ever going to get to. Some of them I'm never going to open and read again, but we do not have a shortage of adventures to play, so that's not a problem. What about now? 2 of y'all were playing priests. What did you think of spellcasting? Once I figured that we had to add the tier level. Thank you, Tristan and Elliott, for pointing that out. I went back and looked later, and I was like, "Oh hell, I gotta add the tier level to the spellcast." But what did you think of spellcasting overall and your spell choices as a priest?
Elliott, you or me?
I can try to answer that. I liked it a lot. I think I liked I know in Baldur's Gate, and I'm pretty sure in 5e there's a subclass of sorcerer called Wild Magic where it's kind of like the same kind of thing where there's always a chance they can have a mishap, and I've had a lot of fun playing that in Baldur's Gate, and so I think I really like the mishap system personally because I think that these kind of games thrive on a little bit of randomness and how people respond to it. And so I think it's really fun. And I also think from a narrative perspective or a like kind of just like lore perspective, it does make sense because as you become, even if you're like a really high level wizard in D&D, you still are only going to have a couple like first level spell slots. I don't know the exact number, but in Shadowdark, if you're a really high level priest or wizard and you're casting tier 1 spells, I guess it would be wisdom or intelligence, presumably would have continued to raise as you level up. Like you're just going to be pretty good at consistently and reliably casting those, which I think makes sense for like a wizard gaining experience and being able to reliably cast like basic spells. And so I thought it was really fun. And also the mishap with the witch was like probably the most fun thing that happened in our session. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was, I think, the perfect example of making something efficient without oversimplifying it to the point that it's no longer fun would be my summary.
Yeah, like how it was the slot, like instead of having spell slots, it's like, okay, you get to cast this spell, and if it fails, then you don't have it the rest of the day. Then I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. You keep using it if you keep passing, right, you get it again and again and again.
Yeah, it was just a cool mechanic. I just liked it.
Yeah. I'm curious how much, we talked ahead of time. I shared a PDF to let you guys look through the rules before you played. How much of that did you even look at, or was it mostly just spent on character gen?
I looked through it a little bit, but mostly I was like rolling characters. But like as I was flipping through, like to read the character stuff, I was reading some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked through it a bit beforehand. When you originally sent it to me, just to look at, I was mostly just looking at wizard stuff because I was just interested in that and how that all works. So I had read a little bit about the spell casting and like if you get a bad roll, you can't cast the spell anymore and stuff. So I had like a passing familiarity with it, but I definitely didn't spend a lot of time like, reading through the various items or carousing events, and that stuff will all be pretty new for me. I don't know about Tristan though. I think he looked at it pretty closely.
I read through the rule book the first time you sent it to me, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, I'd shared it with Tristan, I think even before I knew you, Elliott, before we had met. He had looked at it, and we had looked at playing an online game and didn't quite get that far, but
so I read through it then, but I haven't looked at it since then.
Yeah.
And so I just coasted off of that memory.
Tristan though has that not photogenic, what would it be? Encyclopedic memory, I guess. He reads through these rule books, and he's like, that's one good reason he sits down by me at the table, because I'm like, how do we do this again? I don't remember. What was the thing for that? And he's like, consulting a mental file and then calls it up like that. So it's very, very helpful.
Whenever we're driving somewhere, my wife is always surprised that I don't need a map to get there. And I've driven there once. I remember how to get there.
Yeah, we have quite a diverse mix at the table, I think. But that's great. That makes it fun because if you have everybody who wants to be a fighter and everybody, and I don't know if Katie can hear us or not, but Katie had that bard in the last thing. They do have a bard. I've been sending her stuff.
I was wondering about that because that was when I was like, oh, I missed the bard class, so I'm glad that there is.
Well, in Shadowdark, it's a little different. It's not quite as powerful, but they also have paladins and they have everything else, and then they have some really unique classes that are just something you might find in.
If there's no vicious mockery, she wants nothing to do with it.
Well, they have a version of that, but it's called something different. But yeah, and if she can't have 10 instruments,
that was that was another thing I liked about the spells is that like a lot of them were familiar, like, oh, I know this spell from 5e, and they were very similar but a little bit different. Like I think magic missile, instead of being an automatic hit, it was like you get advantage on the roll, since like you're not using a spell slot, or since we don't have slots, and it's just like, oh, if I fail this roll I lose my spell. So I liked that. I thought that was cool as well.
Yeah, the gear slots made things really easy too. I don't know how. I don't think I was real hardcore about encumbrance. I know I wasn't doing the old way they prescribed, where you actually had to add up the pounds. You had to look on a chart to see what everything weighed, add up the pounds and the ounces, and figure out how much your character.
Yeah, like the gear slots makes that easy.
That is one thing I don't like about 5e is the weight, the rations. You have to make sure you're eating, and I don't like playing like that.
Yeah, the gear slot system is much easier, and rations, are something to worry about. I don't care for mega dungeons, but if you are going to be down underground a long time, I've done it before in campaigns. I'm like, so we're supposed to think we're staying down here in the darkness for 8 hours, and death could come through any direction at any time, and we're going to sleep comfortably for 8 hours. Okay, sure. But, I don't know. A bunch of people are probably going to bust my chops for that comment. But I love the gear slot system. It's very simple, and there are a lot of other games that use that as well. Let's see, what else can I ask? What do you what do you hope to see? What do you want to see in session 2 other than surviving? I know that's probably make it to section 3.
Yeah.
I want to find the other witch.
You want to clean them up, maybe kill her in 15 minutes too. It'll be just a mop-up operation.
No, I worry we got really lucky with that one. So
if she doesn't crit fail again, then
she did not do herself any favor there. I really enjoy the mapping at the table though, and doing our, we do the little flat tokens on balsa wood with little images, the little jelly bubble plastic thing you put on top. I'm sure some of you are familiar with what we're talking about, but we don't paint minis or any of that, at least not yet. I don't know.
I do have a resin printer now, so
it's a possibility, huh?
It's possible.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's a slippery slope for me. I have a long history with painting figures, so I have to be careful there. Well, that's the bulk of what I asked you guys. Do you have any questions about Shadowdark or anything we didn't get to yet or do? Or
no, I just like to play again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next session.
Well, I think we left off trying to set our next session, but someone might have a birthday party they were going to.
Yeah.
And didn't know. I'm kidding.
Wait to hear back from our friend.
I wasn't naming names, Amy. You didn't have to.
It was Elliott, actually. So he's.
It's Elliott's friend. Okay. Well, bring the friend. I mean, I think we could teach them on their birthday how to play Shadowdark pretty easily, but they may have other plans. Right. Now we'll find a date and we'll play again here really soon. I'm glad we brought the game back up, and I appreciate you guys trying Shadowdark. And same experience, just a little less stuff for my aging brain to have to absorb. Yeah. Faster, easier.
The stakes are lower.
Yeah, not in a way that I don't feel like it took away from anything. Yeah. I feel like maybe if you're a group that is consistently meeting once a week and you're looking for like super big story arcs, then yeah, I would get why you would go towards 5e. But like if you're just looking for like the D&D feel experience and like an intro into it, I think it's great.
Yeah, well said. All right, well then we'll leave it here. I guess if y'all don't have any other thoughts or questions, I appreciate y'all doing this, especially on a weeknight. And I made the offer to Elliott, but Tristan, Amy, and the others who aren't with us on the call tonight, anybody wants to maybe play some more, Might have some openings on the Monday night live stream. Now that is live, and we get 20, 30 people sometimes on there in the comments in the chat, and they're making comments and jokes and asking questions while we're playing and stuff, and that's pretty funny. We're playing on Roll20, so I'll keep that invite out there. If it works out for somebody and you can play on a Monday night, if that's a good thing for you. Sometimes we do a one shot, sometimes we play a little mini campaign for only 5 or 6 weeks, and then it switches. Different group of people, different GM. So sometimes we even play stuff other than Shadowdark, believe it or not. So I've got some games lined up for this year I want to try. Alien RPG is one of them. I've heard great things about that. But I mean, you think you kind of know how that's going to end for everybody, but and you're not wrong. It kind of does.
Okay,
Not full, but it's very suspenseful, and some of my other friends here on YouTube just love the game, so maybe I'll try that one out. But anyway, thanks again. We'll leave it there, and maybe we'll have you guys on again. We can talk about fun stuff with Shadowdark. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much.